Welcome to No Dunks for Thursday, July 23rd. I'm Tass Mellis. Alongside me in this Zoom window, it's the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-yo!
Hey-yo! And of course, it's the international man of mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And the man making the magic happen, it's JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. No J.E. Skeets. He is in a cabin for a couple days, just hanging.
Yeah, very fancy looking cabin. Some exclusive views it looks like up there.
He did tell us he was going glamping, so it's lived up to the hype so far.
Emphasis on the glam, it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't glamping like nice camping? He's not in a tent.
So I thought that as well. So yeah, I thought, he's in a cabin. I mean, that's not even glamping. That's like staying in a hotel.
That's pretty nice. But he will be back on Monday, we do believe, if he decides to come back from that beautiful scenery he's at. We actually had some basketball, guys. We've got a ton to get into. The Hawks, New Jerseys, wedgies already. Day one of scrimmages.
Love it.
It's wild. We thought there would be an uptick. We'll get into that. We'll get into some fishing, of course. We got to. Trey just did some serious fishing this past week. Alex Caruso missing his sister's wedding to stay in the bubble because he wants to win a title. But first, I don't know, we might start with the actual basketball. And to do that, it's time for the up-down report.
Prepare your tundies. It's the up-down report.
It was crazy to see 10 grown men on a basketball floor running up and down for the first time in 4 months. It's just a scrimmage, but it had Twitter going all crazy. It was the look and the feel that we were all sort of worried about, concerned about, thinking about. And the actual games start on July 30th, but I imagine the look and the feel will be quite similar. So just to quickly set the scene before we go up and down on the field, if you're looking at it from the main camera where we always watch basketball from, huge NBA logo at midcourt, Black Lives Matter written above it across center court, huge plexiglass in front of the scorer's table where the PA announcer is and all the employees are, and they're socially distanced in there.
Watch out for Ulf Samuelson. He'll throw you into the boards, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's wild looking. Lots of space on the sideline. It's blank right now, no team names or anything. The team names are all along video boards along the side. Lots of space on the baseline. There is some music. There are some sounds being thrown in there. So let's get to it. Up or down on the NBA bubble viewing experience? Trey, what'd you think of it?
Oh, I'm up. The NBA is back! It was great just being able to watch basketball. It's different. All the things you described, Tass, things I think kind of trended towards the generic side look-wise. There's no paint basically on the court anywhere. They could have painted the lane black. They could have painted it red. They could have given it some sort of color. But I thought that watching the game, it felt like the NBA. It looked like the NBA. The sounds are definitely different, and I think I think everybody's kind of willing to give the NBA a pass on the sounds because we know these games don't count. So we've got still another week to figure out exactly how it's going to sound when we're watching games that matter. But watching it, seeing robotic cameramen, seeing just a few actual human cameramen, it looked the same to me. I got used to the plexiglass on the side, the big video boards as well. I think can be pretty cool. Who knows what they're actually going to do with those during the season, during the restart? Are they going to put, fans going crazy on it? Maybe at some point, but I thought it looked like the NBA and I thought it felt like the NBA, so I was happy.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I sort of, at the start, we knew it was going to be different, and the first few possessions, it was different. You can certainly hear a few more squeaks on the court and a little bit more, the whistles seem a little bit louder, but once the games start, you sort of forget about that and you're just enjoying watching basketball again. And again, as you mentioned there, Trey, these are only scrimmages, they don't count, but this is pretty much how it's going to look when the games do count. So I don't think it's going to be a whole lot different from what we're seeing now. But yeah, those things in the background with the digital boards, like those are the sort of things that give you a little bit more, that aren't usually there during the regular season. So there's something else that's a bit different. But I mean, it's kind of like an upgrade on Summer League, even though there's fans at Summer League, but it's better than the sort of Summer League we've seen in Orlando anyway, where that's just like in a tiny gym. So I thought it was fine. And again, this is better than no basketball at all. So it's a little bit of an adjustment for us, but really at the end of the day, You're seeing good basketball. You're seeing proper basketball, and it's fine. I'm more than happy with it, and I think we'll get used to it pretty quickly, and it'll be great.
Yeah, my biggest worry from the viewer's experience from sitting here, just in terms of watching it, was empty stands, and they basically got rid of that because of all those monstrous video boards, right? They're covering all the seats, and so they sometimes they throw logos in there, and I thought, might it be distracting for players? But it's not really at eye level. And then I actually went back and looked at old basketball games because I forgot what basketball games are. When they played normally, and there's tons of different colors and player sight lines anyway. So I don't think it really matters. And you said, Trey, maybe they throw up virtual fans. The first couple games they just had logos in there, and then I'm guilty. I didn't watch every quarter of every scrimmage yesterday, but I did see Bleacher Report put up a clip of the Miami Heat. They were on offense, and I'm watching it right now here. They put up fans. They looped Heat fans, so they're in red, cheering, and it sort of feels like the fans are there, and they didn't pipe in. They are experimenting with how much sound they put in there, and they didn't pipe it in like crazy. They did have music, sort of just standard music that you would hear in an arena. Did that bother you at all, Trey? Just the sort of the sights and sounds part of it?
The sounds, my main concern with the sounds is all the broadcasts are different, right? If you are watching, if you were watching the Nuggets broadcast, they basically had a Zoom call on top of it, and that to me was a no-go. The Clippers were doing a simulcast between their television broadcast and their radio broadcast, so at times it felt like you were listening to a radio broadcast, no doubt about it. My main concern, though, with the music would be that you cannot have songs from the 90s. Like, I heard Eve and Gwen Stefani's Let Me Blow Your Mind. We can't have that. We cannot have that playing during 2020, during this restart. If we're only going to be hearing music that's going on in the arena, it's got to be current music or confirmed bangers.
Well, that's like watching a Spurs game. I mean, it feels like the Spurs just played like
Good point. That's
Kid
a good
Rock.
point.
Yeah, but it was, and that was the other concern, was that you could just hear sneaker squeakers. You could that's all you would be able to hear is nothing, and it would just sound like Summer League. But I think they did a good job of keeping sort of there was like a hum, even though there was no fans in there, and you could see photos from reporters where there was just like just 30 reporters sitting there watching a basketball game, socially distanced, which was weird. They did a good job of keeping just a certain volume where it didn't make it sound like this wasn't an NBA game. And I did see Ryan Hollins tweet something. He said, a lot of us play Pro-Am in the summer. A lot of guys play without fans. So we're sort of used to that kind of feel. Like we do play like that, but it isn't an NBA finals game. I mean, that makes it different. But I think the NBA, watching it, it's only day one, and lots of testing sure has to happen. The coronavirus might enter the bubble, but day one, I think it was great. And I think, like we talked about, the sidelines were crazy blank and even extended past the baselines as well. It made it look like the court was kind of smaller, and especially small in the corners, just because of the different space. Do you think they changed that, Lee, or is that by design just to keep the Black Lives Matter font even more prominent? I think that might be the idea, but but also it was really blank.
Yeah, it was, and sort of Trey mentioned it there. I think I would have probably painted the lanes there, the key, the free throw line area there, just to give it a little bit.
There's no paint in the painted area, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just put a little something in there. But again, I don't know if the NBA is going to potentially tweak these things as they go along, based on the feedback they see from what people are watching and saying about it. But I mean, it definitely is weird to see just an NBA logo and not a home team's logo and the home team's colors or anything like that. That had the summer league feel to it. But I think it's this has never been done before, so it's an experimental thing for the NBA. And I think honestly, after day one, though, everyone's got to be pretty happy with the results, because no one's saying it was just a torturous experience to watch. What you mentioned there with the Nuggets, that was an unusual thing. We've never seen that before. Will that continue? Maybe, I'm not sure. But if you don't want to hear the Nuggets broadcast, I guess you could hear the other one, but that was something that was sort of imposing on the experience. But it wasn't bad. It was just, if you didn't want to hear the Nuggets commentators, you sort of had to. So I think those are the sorts of things that people are just going to figure out right now in this scrimmage week, and probably adjust them when the games really start, and certainly for the playoffs.
I love me some Nuggets broadcast crew. You know, we feature them all the time on Say What. We talk about Katie Wingy and Chris Marlowe and Dempsey there, but you
Scott
said
Hastings
it wasn't great.
as well, yeah.
Oh yeah, but let's Scott Hastings. Well, let's get them some cameras or some lighting or some proper mic. I think we got better mics than they do. So that was a little weird. But anyways, that's not going to happen. We'll get into the actual broadcasters who will be broadcasting the games when they actually start. These are just scrimmages, and we are just extremely pumped to watch it. I'd say one little thing I'd like is that the camera, I'm not sure if it's fixed, like the main camera, if it can't be moved in, but it was a little bit more zoomed out, and it was like, you know, I was like, am I getting old? In the last 3 months, have my eyes gotten bad? Because I couldn't make out the players like I used to. I don't know if that's something where the camera has to be fixed. But anyways, let's get to the friggin' basketball. You mentioned the Nuggets. They started a monstrous lineup. But the guy who stole the show was Bol Bol, the Nuggets 7-2 player. Not even going to call him a center because he was playing point guard. He's a player. Second-round pick this past draft. Hadn't played in a game. Handling, shooting, do it and all. 16-10 with 6 blocks. So, Lee, he had you clipping scrimmages and posting them on Twitter. So, up or down on Bol Bol being Rookie of the Year next season?
Yeah, well, so this is an interesting one. I saw John Schumann tweeted something about it, that these games... that when they actually start won't count towards anything as far as voting for this season's awards. So in that sense, Bol Bol, even if he plays, he won't necessarily be counted as a rookie this season. He can play next season. I think that's what John's saying.
That's how it looks, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, if he plays the Wizards 82 games next season, then he is a lock for Rookie of the Year. But, I mean, obviously, like the Wizards are shorthanded as they are. Not a good defensive team. But what I saw from Bol Bol yesterday was so much fun and so enjoyable, because he's more than just, like a token guy going out there just to give him some minutes because his dad played in the NBA. He played really well. He handled the ball incredibly well, I thought, a couple of times, passed it. Hit a pull-up three, splashed another one there from the corner, was blocking shots, was running the lane, had a nice soft touch around the rim. So he's a very talented big man. Things are obviously going to be different when he goes up against a harder competition, because, again, the Wizards are one of the worst defensive teams, and they didn't really have anyone out there to contend with him. But I just was very, very impressed with what I saw. He said after the game, I wasn't shocked by my performance because I've been working hard. He obviously missed most of the season because of a foot injury. He's recovered from that, and he's really been working on all facets of his game. So who knows? Who knows if he can keep that up during a season? I think it's probably unlikely, but the Mike Malone said, we wanted to put him in positions where he could be effective. And, when you got those long arms, he can contest and block shots. And then if he can do that stuff at the other end of the floor, he's going to be an impactful player. So I would love to see him have a rookie season where he can win the award and show that yesterday's game wasn't just sort of a fluke or a summer league type performance.
Definitely feels like a September call-up in baseball. Shane Spencer mashing taters for the New York Yankees. Then he's able to come back and try and win the Rookie of the Year the next year. Didn't happen. Hopefully it does happen for Bol Bol, because watching him, that's how you knew the NBA was back, because, I don't know, a half of a 20-minute half of a scrimmage, people were saying, oh man, if the Nuggets are getting this from Bol Bol, they are a serious title contender. We saw the guy play 20 minutes in a scrimmage game after 3.5 months off, but the NBA is back because the NBA is ready for Bol Bol, the ultimate two-name guy. You're never going to hear him called Bol, ever. He's going to be Bol Bol 100% of the time,
Yeah.
But Stretch 5 is the most enticing unicorn that is out there as a basketball player. Bol Bol was a top 10 recruit in high school, so the talent is there. But when you see somebody that's 7'2", that can handle the ball, can block shots and stroke threes, you're like, no wonder people love this kind of player. It's a player you would make in a video game if they're ever able to actually translate that to consistent success in the NBA. It's like why people get so excited about Kristaps Porzingis, a 7'4" guy who can shoot threes. It's the same sort of thing. So yeah, if you've got that kind of length and you actually have ball skills, people get jacked.
He's the rare one-name, two-name guy. or is it actually a two-name, one-name guy? I'm not sure. But it's like no one just says Bol. It's Bol Bol every time. Every time he touches the ball.
And yeah, it's enticing just to watch him play with Nikola Jokic too, who's another giant and can pass. And so Jokic is just fun to watch, period. And, I was pumped last week when there was a highlight of them in practice and Jokic drives the lane and finds Bol Bol. And Bol Bol is like a foot and a half above the rim and does a thrunk because he's enormous. But yeah, we're obviously getting a little ahead of ourselves and getting a little pumped for Bol Bol's future. When you see a guy bring it up and standard Washington Wizards defense just lay off him. And he strokes a three. And yeah, we're getting excited for 2 threes. He was also 2 for 8 from 3-point land.
Yeah, but that pull up little hezzy, that was beautiful to watch,
Oh, God, yeah.
And there was a couple of times where he picked up the defensive rebound and he ran very comfortably with the ball in his hands there, just like making moves. And that one sort of almost like a football pass, I think it was to... who was that to? I can't remember who the player was to, but he got it over his shoulder and threw it. I mean, it was like he's a skillful guy. He's got some talent.
And that's why they could start 3 near 7-footers yesterday. It was Jeremy Grant and Paul Millsap were the small guys at 6'8", 6'9", or whatever they are, and then 3 near 7-footers. And Bol Bol after the game, apparently, according to Brendan Vogt of the Denver.com, he was selected for a random drug test by the NBA. I'm sure Nuggets Twitter will have fun with that because, and the one thing about the Nuggets is that they sort of brought Michael Porter Jr. along slowly. Bol Bol had an injury this year, but it seems like they kind of keep guys in the development wheel until they're needed, and they traded a couple other guys in Malik Beasley, I should say, not Michael Beasley. That's another guy. And Juancho Hernan Gomez. They got some guys deep on the bench. And so I don't know if Paul Millsap's going to be there next year as a free agent. But anyway, that's something for next year when Bol Bol could be Rookie of the Year, I guess. According to John Schumann. We're going to blame John Schumann if he's not eligible next year. Okay, next topic. And it's Bol Bol related. He stuck a wedgie. Lee Ellis clipped it and put it up on the internet. So up or down on counting scrimmage wedgies toward our regular season total, which is at 36 right now. JD, what do you think? Should we count them?
Well, first of all, I'm way up on this wedgie, although maybe it's because I'm so starved. I'm looking at Lee's his tweet right now. I mean, it's a beautiful wedgie. They could have let it breathe a little longer. We did cut to the camera that was getting the close-up of it, and then it gets knocked out by one of the Wizards player. I can't really see who it is. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful wedgie. But counting them during scrimmage, as I've said before on the show, I am a serial rules follower. We can't count it. I'm sorry.
Come on,
JD, these are unprecedented times. It calls for unusual counting.
Listen,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. There's already going to be an asterisk on everything. We can't go crazy here. So scrimmage wedgies are not acceptable.
Well, let me ask you this, JD, because yesterday, again, Bol Bol was the big story, but Nikola Jokic gave us a classic doinker to Ish Smith, who went and scored a layup at the other end. I saw 2 very solid plays. I counted them.
No,
I mean,
you can't count them.
Come on, man.
You can't count them. Scrimmage, come on now.
Somebody even tweeted me a highlight that wasn't. That's how starved people were for basketball. So JD says, no, Trey, it sounds like, come on, we need to count them.
I would like to count it, but honestly, JD has talked me into it. We need to have some integrity here. JD's 100% right. There's going to be an asterisk on the season. We can't have an asterisk on our wedgie count, especially, I mean, we saw one in the first hour of the restart. Does that mean many more are going to be coming? We don't want to jump the gun here, counting these scrimmage wedgies if they're just going to keep coming during the seeding games anyways.
Oh man, if we end up on 49 at this season at the end, I'm going to be so bummed. I'm coming back.
That'll be a
episode.
Retroactive count, no
exactly, doubt. Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to appeal that one.
Yeah, we don't count preseason wedgies, so this feels like a preseason game. Doc Rivers said we should call these preseason games, but yeah, we have one in just 4 games yesterday. The pace is hot. So, sitting at 36 right now. We shall see where we get to with another, if the NBA plays it out, it's another 160, 170 games that we're going to see through the postseason. So We could have 70 for all we know. We'll see. All right, next one. TNT has announced their broadcast teams. We know their crews for the regular season games, aka the seeding games. There will be 2 pairs, Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller, Ian Eagle, and the great Stan Van Gundy. These are really great duos. Don't know how you can go down. I can't wait to hear your answer, Elise. So these are the TNT guys. Rotating sideline reporters for these games will be Stephanie Reddy, Jared Greenberg, and Chris Haynes. This doesn't include the NBA TV, ESPN, or ABC games, which will also be broadcasting these regular season seeding games. So up or down, Lee, on the TNT teams in Orlando?
Oh, of course I'm up there. I mean, certainly those play-by-play guys are 2 of the best in the business. Kevin Harlan is fantastic. I mean, he's got such great energy, and Ian Eagle as well. And Ian Eagle, talking about wedgies, you know Ian Eagle is going to highlight the wedgie. He's not going to let that one slide. And then the colour commentators there, Reggie and Stan Van Gundy. I mean, Reggie gets a bad rap, but I think Reggie's fine. And, I think he's been doing this for so long now. That's one of those things. It's like once you've been around for a long time, people just start to turn on you. But he's great. I think he's fine. And of course, Stan Van Gundy, I mean, he is just on Twitter right now on fire. So I hope he brings the same sort of energy to his broadcast here because he's not holding back. And that's great. Stan's always been funny. He's always been clever. And now we get to see him in this environment. I know he's done a little bit of it there for ESPN in the past. But I'm looking forward to hearing Stan and Ian. So a couple of good combinations there. Obviously, Marv Albert was considered high risk for the bubble given his age, and that's why he's not out there. But anytime you can listen to Kevin Harlan, it's exciting because he brings a real good element to the game. And we've seen it in the past when was it the squirrel on the football field that night? Was it that? He started calling it. So if there's some sort of extracurricular activity, it's not going to go by Kevin Harlan. He's going to try to include it in the broadcast. So I'm big up on this.
Yeah, I'm up as well. You touched on it, Lee, with the play-by-play guys, the enthusiasm that Harlan and Eagle have. I think that's true of Reggie and Stan Van Gundy as well. All 4 of these guys are huge NBA fans, and you can tell it when they are broadcasting, when they're talking. They just have a passion for the game and talking about it. And I think in a pretty quiet arena in a time of the year when we're not used to basketball, having people who are really excited to be there talking about it is going to be big.
Yeah, and I understand. You just when you said that, the excitement of the broadcaster made me think of Noah Eagle, who is Ian Eagle's son, who's the radio play-by-play guy of the Clippers, and people were sort of criticizing him yesterday because he was calling the TV game like he was calling the game on radio, and that may have been broadcast on radio. I'm not sure, but people are saying it could have been. But the way you broadcast on radio is that you don't allow basically a second of airtime of just dead air, and so he was firing. He would not stop chatting, and people were criticizing that. I mean, the guy was excited, and I think like you said, Trey, that's the number one job of Kevin Harlan and Ian Eagle, especially as the play-by-play guys, and they'll kill it. They'll be great down there. I saw this note on Reddit, and I'm confused. I'm just not sure. Has Kevin Harlan never done a conference finals game? Because that's Marv's.
Wow.
Because
that's probably right. Because Marv has been the sort of number one guy for a long time. So yeah, and they split the East and the West between ESPN and TNT. So yeah, it's very possible that Kevin's never done one before.
Yeah, so I'd assume that this would be his first because it doesn't seem like Marv is going to be there at all.
No.
I'm not sure if they change in the postseason, but yeah, those guys will be calling games. And as Stan Van said, he's got to make his trip from his home 45 minutes away from the bubble into the bubble, and he'll be staying there. So, like you said, Lee, on fire on Twitter, Stan Van Gundy, and I'm sure he'll be bringing it in there. I'm sure we'll see lots of photos of his food. Can't wait. All right, lots more to get to, including the Hawks jerseys, Alex Caruso missing his sister's wedding, and fishing, of course. But first, a word from our sponsors.
It's time to grab your peanuts and popcorn because baseball is back. That's right. The boys will be getting back out on the diamond this week. In fact, they're already out. I think I saw someone sending a dinger over the Green Monster yesterday. And while we may not be able to join them at the park, there is plenty of action to be had from the comfort of your home. DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is putting you on the field with a shot to play risk-free for a shot at hundreds of thousands of bucks. you haven't tried it yet, fantasy baseball is easy to play. Just pick 10 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up the points for hits, runs, strikeouts, and more. There's no better way to put your baseball knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if baseball isn't for you, don't worry. DraftKings is offering plenty of fantasy golf action for this weekend's tournament. You can be your own regular Cam Stewart. He's got it all covered. With millions of dollars up for grabs this week, there is no better place to have skin in the game than with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code RUN to get a free shot at a share of millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. That's promo code RUN, R-U-N, to get a free shot at your share of millions of dollars with your first deposit. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Lee, put your baseball knowledge to the test. Who's your daily fantasy pick on opening night?
I'm going with Aaron Judge.
Great call. Great call.
Yeah. What's happening with the Blue Jays? Do we know? Is that confirmed they're going to Pittsburgh? Or?
Oh, no. They got declined.
Really?
Yeah, the state of Pennsylvania decided it's not in our interest to have you down here. It's not in our... not good for the sake of the state or the health of the state. I didn't really read into the reasoning, but they said no. We can have one team, but two teams is too many.
Wow. So what are they going to do?
Yeah, I guess they have the Phillies too, so that would be three teams. But they looks like they're going to be playing in every other team's stadium and just traveling around and calling it the home game when they're there.
Wow. Right.
But that's what it looks like right now. But they still don't know, and they're 6 days away from their quote unquote home game. But they're not. Doesn't look like they're going to have a home base at this point, which is nuts.
Wow.
so
maybe give Bo Bichette a pass on your daily fantasy team to start. But just this week on this very podcast, I heard something that sent chills down my spine. Quote, "Whoever has the sexiest bush gets to play center on the No Dunks team." I was shook. As the tallest of us five, I thought I had that spot locked up. My ball skills are good. I can sometimes shoot, pass, and dribble, but there's no doubt I'm best close to the basket. So that's why I reached for the Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0, because Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your full body grooming game and regain your starting center spot. The Lawnmower 3.0 is the best trimmer on the market. It's waterproof and cordless, and it's perfect for your chest, your bush, or anything in between, like your treasure trail. This third generation trimmer features skin-safe technology to reduce manscaping accidents, and you can also adjust settings to get a length you like. The Lawnmower 3.0 is part of the Perfect Package 3.0 kit, which also comes with a ton of liquid formations to round out your manscaping routine, get you back in the starting lineup. If you subscribe to the Perfect Package, you'll get a new blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months so you can keep your spot. Right now, you can get 20% off and free shipping by using the code THEATHLETIC20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code THEATHLETIC20. For a limited time, subscribers get not one but two free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, which is a $39 value, and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Go to manscaped.com today and use code THEATHLETIC20.
Speaking of bushes, Trey, I saw you mentioned Rick Fox's hair, not his bush per se, but Rick Fox, who we know is a very well-kept man. Just letting it fly with that hairdo. It was wild to see him, and you called him basically you, 2.0.
He's got the perfect Trey Kirby 2.0 going on. Rick Fox looks great. Literally a silver fox at this point.
Yeah. Do you think
Wild.
he's that badly groomed down below as well? Do you think he's let it all go?
I don't think about it really.
Well, maybe we should send him out a sample from Manscaped so he can keep himself tidy down there.
There we go. You probably don't think of that, Trey, but I'm sure you think of this. Back to the show. Hawks jerseys. As our resident jersey expert, I'm sure you love these new home, road, and alternate jerseys that they've released for next year. Didn't see this coming in July. They're telling us about their beauty jerseys, got a little bit of throwback vibe. So let us know, Trey, up or down, Hawks jerseys for next season.
Oh, it's an easy up. You guessed it, Tassie. They came back with the classic Hawks colors. You know, they have names for them now, but it's red, yellow, and black. A little white thrown in there as well, and I think they look incredible. You know, they kind of hit the sweet spot of what a jersey should look like right now, where it's a little bit retro, but it's also updated for 2020. You know, the Bucks kind of similar, the Jazz kind of similar, where you're drawing on heritage from your team, from the past, but you're making it look like something that a team would be wearing today. I really liked them. I really like the black ones in particular, and I liked seeing a little Michael Jordan sign on every single statement uniform that we're going to get during the NBA this year.
Yeah, that was interesting. Lee, what do you think of, you got some beauty home whites, some standard red or away jerseys, and the black one, the statement one that Trey just mentioned. What do you think?
Yeah, no, they're all great. They're all great. Great job there by the Hawks, because their last couple of uniforms have certainly been interesting, to say the least. You know, that sort of soccer one they rocked a couple of years ago wasn't the greatest, but I think this time they've actually got it right, keeping it simpler. You know, bit of a, as you mentioned there, Trey, sort of, you know, a nod to the past, but keeping sort of things modern as well. They just look cool. It was just, it was an interesting sort of time to release them, I thought, with other things sort of on the mind of basketball fans yesterday. But they still got some good traction, got some good traffic, so it was great. Yeah, looking forward to seeing them out on the court.
Yeah, they are badass. I like them a lot. Like you said, Trey, they sort of a balance of what a jersey should look like, a little bit of old school vibes, but also, you know, simple and enough colors to keep it sort of new age, I guess, if that makes sense in the jersey world. I don't know. I don't know jersey speak, but all I know is they look like Calgary Flames jerseys. It reminds me of the reds and yellows, but they're gorgeous. Yeah, I think they're awesome. And to see that, the Jumpman logo on all 30 teams' statement jerseys, so they're alternate jerseys on both the jersey and the shorts. It makes, you know, the Jumpman logo just makes everything look a touch cool, like 30% cooler. But it's not all over everything. It's just sort of, it's there, but it's not like crazy prominent or overtaking the jersey or anything like that.
Few good memes floating around yesterday.
The memes were incredible. Seeing Michael Jordan dunking on the Pistons, you know, 30-something years later. It was really exciting. But, the only thing that I'm down on is that I've been saving a Trey Young Peachtree jersey for Isla for, I don't know, about 4 months now, and it's already obsolete. You know, it's already to be retired, so I guess I'll just have to slip it into the drawer somehow.
Are they changing the statement jerseys every year? I thought that was the case, but I'm not sure. Like, are they coming out with a new statement jersey again, the alternate jersey every season? I thought that was the case, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think you're right. That was the case. I think at most they can wear them like 2 straight seasons, like the Jazz with their gradient jerseys. I think they asked for a second year to be able to wear them, so I think it's 2 tops. So I don't know. Get that Black Hawks one now before it's off the shelves.
And JD, did you see these? Can we get an opinion from you?
Statement. I think I'm actually going to get a statement jersey, or at least a jersey. I think they're badass. They look great.
Agreed. We know our man Larry Luke is getting them, no doubt. I got a text from your boy Brian, our good friend in Toronto, an incredible DJ in Toronto, telling me he wants one. He's like, yeah, you're getting one for me and sending it to me. I'll send you the money, no problem. I think it was the black one he wanted, but I'm more partial to the home and the ways. I mean, they're all great. I don't know which one I like more. All right, this one, interesting story. The Lakers' Alex Caruso, fan favorite. He skipped his sister's wedding to stay in the bubble. This story from Zach Lowe on ESPN. Caruso's sister got married on July 18th outside of Austin, Texas, a wedding of about 100 people. And Caruso was already in the bubble for the Lakers and said his concern about bringing the virus back to the bubble and an extended quarantine period, which, you know, may have led into the regular season games. Also, he just wants to focus on the title, led him to staying in the bubble. So, Caruso skipping his sister's wedding, up or down, JD?
Way up. You made the right decision, Alex. I remember we spoke to Yeshua back in March. He had a Star Wars themed wedding. right when the coronavirus was hitting Georgia. The infection numbers were relatively low. They had a sparse affair. They were social distancing. People were wearing masks. But I think Yeshua mentioned that his grandma or his mom couldn't resist. She went in for a hug and a kiss. It's a wedding. You can't blame them. But Texas right now, the numbers are exploding. Austin, to be fair, it seems to have flattened out and maybe going down, but still, Alex was saying that he was he watched the thing after the fact, and he said about 25% of people weren't wearing masks.
And
when
he saw it, you never know what.
Exactly.
Right.
The ceremony was outside, but the reception was inside. Megan, what are we doing here? And Caruso would have definitely been quarantined for 10, probably 14 days when he got back. And and as he says, he didn't want to be the one to bring coronavirus back in. It could have, if he had a 4-day, say they let him have a 4-day quarantine, he could have infected his entire team, which would have been a disaster. So, I love the part where he talked about he was looking for a safe house to crash in before heading back to Florida. He would have gone to the wedding, skipped the reception, found a safe house, he called it. If you're planning to find a safe house, that scheme has now become a cockamamie one. You know what I mean? Like, it's too crazy.
You only need a safe house when things are going sideways.
That's exactly right. So he made the right decision. And also, after speaking to Ben Golliver yesterday, the best place you could possibly be in the United States is inside the NBA bubble right now. It seems to be the safest place. It's the most fun place on earth. People are playing, slam ball or spike ball, sorry. We got swimming, we got fishing, we got Settlers of Catan, we've got unlimited beers to shotgun, we got pickleball, and you're going to be able to go to every single game of the NBA playoffs, including the finals. Has that ever happened? I mean, I'm sure this has come up before, but it just occurred to me this morning. It's like Ben Golliver is going to be able to see literally every single playoff game. That has never happened, right?
That is crazy.
It's insane. So even I'd be into it. 94 days would be nothing for me at this point.
Well, that's the thing, especially because it's not like you're flying around from city to city, coast to coast, or anything like that. It's like you just wake up and you're going to the office, and it happens to be just NBA playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be an incredible experience for him because that's the thing. Like a lot of people complain about after the playoffs is like, oh man, because you're just traveling around so much, different hotels and airports and time zones. That's not going to be a problem this time.
No. Yeah. And you got your permanent Lego setup that you can come home to every night. That's there for you.
Yeah, Jimmy Goldstein must be begging to get in there. Like, I don't have to travel. I can see every friggin' playoff game. It's a good point, JD. Trey, what do you think?
I mean, this was an easy choice, safety-wise. I'm sure it was a hard choice for Alex Caruso to actually miss his sister's wedding. Surely it was planned months and months in advance, but he doesn't want to be the one to bring it back to the bubble, and that's understandable. Rudy Gobert is known as the first guy to get coronavirus in the NBA, despite the fact that he might not have been the first guy to have coronavirus in the NBA. If you're the player that leaves, you come back, somebody gets sick, you're going to get blamed for it. It did seem like a possibility to find out a way to get the vaccine, because if Alex Caruso is able to go to Florida and Texas and somehow not get infected, just take his blood and give it to everybody, because maybe he's got the antibodies that we need. I don't know what it is, but he made the right decision. It's a bummer, but I guess you can FaceTime into a wedding.
Yeah, I love the line that he used about Florida and Texas I mean, it seemed like out of nowhere, like nothing really motivated, but he's like, they're having a wedding. It's in Texas. People in like Texas and Florida, it's like they're in their own country doing whatever the heck they want. And so, yeah, that's what happened. But it's true. Like, it's July. We talked to one of our fans, as JD said, who had a wedding in March, which was basically a week after everything sort of happened in the U.S., where everything started to be shut down, and they went from like 160 people at their wedding to 40 to 50 people at their wedding. My man Ryan Seton was supposed to have his wedding in September. He's putting it off until next year. It would just seem to make sense to just put it off, because wouldn't it be a lot more fun next year when grandma can come up to you and give you a huge smooch and not think twice about it? Lee, what do you think?
Well, that's if things do get back up and running that quickly. I mean, you postpone it for a year, you might have to postpone it another year's time as well. I mean, who knows how things are going to go. But yeah, unfortunately, during this situation, those are the sorts of things that people just have to kind of miss out on. You're hearing, because in big gatherings, especially when it's such an affectionate, emotional moment, there's lots of hugging, there's lots of kissing, there's lots of dancing, and people are so close to each other, very intimate. So those are the things that are a big no-no right now, and unfortunately, you have to just avoid them. It's tough when it's your sibling. I'm sure I missed one of my brother's weddings because I was living on the other side of the world and had an 8-month-old at the time, so it was a little tough, and it sucks, when they're getting married and everyone's having a good time. But yeah, unfortunately, that's just the sacrifice that Alex has to make right now, because especially the Lakers are shorthanded anyway. So if he left and he would have had to quarantine on return again, maybe it would have set them back even further. So not the end of the world, though. I mean, it's an inconvenience, but you'll be okay with it.
Okay, last topic, and has to do with sort of something going on in the bubble, but mostly about Trey Kirby's trip this past week. Fishing, up or down on what players are doing. I don't know if you can call it fishing, but that's what they're doing in the bubble. Trey, you did this in Illinois last week, so we'll start with you. Up or down on fishing?
Way up on fishing. I am hooked. On fishing. It's a great socially distanced activity. You're basically not going to be seeing anybody, and if they get within 6 feet of you, you got a hook on the end of a pole. You can stab them and get them away. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I went back to Illinois, and I grew up fishing. There's a big state park in my hometown. Laura grew up on a lake. We weren't seeing friends. We weren't really doing much, so I had a lot of spare time. So I was able to get up at 5 a.m, go down to the lake, start getting my line wet, and then come back, hang out with the family, hang out with the kids. And then once they go to bed, I'm going back to the lake. I've seen Lee Ellis's popping packs all summer. I'm ready to start my own IG live series, Ripping Lips.
Nice. Yeah.
So when you're catching those fish, because we saw you catch some good sized fish, you're throwing those back, or you're just ripping those lips and you cooking them up, or what's the deal?
Oh, no, it's a little too gross for me. Knowing these ponds and seeing these ponds to actually want to put that food inside my mouth. So yeah, I take them up, I put them next to my head so you can see how big it is, and I throw it right back. Hopefully I can catch it again in a couple of years, a little bit bigger.
What was it? Do you know? What was it?
Well, I caught a couple of bass, a couple of bluegill, and a river catfish.
Ah, nice. Okay, yeah, because well, I'm going fishing this weekend myself, sort of Sunday, Monday, where I went a couple of weeks ago to Alabama, where it was like, it's sort of like the NBA bubble there. The pond is just loaded with fish, even though we couldn't pull one in. So I'm up now because I'm positive and hopeful. I tell you what, after 2 or 3 days of fishing, if I don't catch anything this time, I'm going to be down, and maybe down for good. I might just throw the rods in the water too, because if you can't catch fish in a barrel, then you're not exactly the greatest fisherman. But I'll definitely be throwing them back for 2 reasons, because it's the right thing to do, for one. And 2, apparently there's a lot of carp in this pond, so you don't want to be eating carp. They're pretty gross. They eat all the gross stuff in the lake. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm taking my boys out, and like I say with kids, if they don't get a bite or some sort of action within the first 30 seconds to a minute, hard to keep them interested and hard to keep their attention, because they're just like, what am I doing? I'm just holding a stick here, and it's not really working. So we'll see. I'm hopeful and positive right now though, but. Yeah, if we don't get any bites, I might be done with the fishing.
Oh, yeah. Isla is an early riser, and like I said, I was getting up early to go fishing, so Laura's like, why don't you just take Isla with you sometime? She likes fishing, and she does. She likes to go out there, but it's a little bit different, when it's 5 o'clock and it's the last thing of the day, and you're just getting to spend a couple hours out there. When you wake up first thing in the morning, when you're a kid, I don't think you want to go stand at the edge of the water and just be as quiet as you possibly can and move as slowly as you can. It lasted 10 minutes before she's like, can we do something else? Can we go swimming? I'm like, you can definitely do that. I'll walk you right back home.
JD, are you Are you a fishing enthusiast?
No, I hate fishing. It's boring as hell, which is weird for me because there's nothing I like more than to just sit and do nothing and, have a beer. But if you add the fishing pole, I'm just not into it. It's just, it turns into a boring activity for me. Also, I feel sorry for the worms. I feel sorry for the fish, even throwing them back. It's just boring. One time when I was a kid, we went to get frogs. We went hunting for frogs to use as fishing bait, and it was a traumatic experience for me because we caught the frogs, put them in a bucket, took them down to the dock, hooked the frogs because my uncle said, "Hey, you want big fish? Get frogs as bait." So basically, we drowned these frogs, hooking them through their lips. I mean, it was horrible. I had more fun catching the frogs. That was fun. So I'm down on fishing.
That's sad. Yeah.
What are they using as bait nowadays? Is it just? I mean, you can use like non-worms, right? There's got to be.
Yeah,
stuff
you can use lures like reflective little things, I guess. But
Oh yeah, I'm fishing with lures. I just ordered a frog last night, JD. Not a real one, a plastic one. Supposedly the bass are hitting the frogs hard during the summertime. Throw it in the grass, baby. Slow and twitchy.
good stuff. You said, Lee, that you don't like the carp. Number one, because they're gross. Number two, because they're eating the gross stuff off the bottom of the lake. Like the bottom of like what, like shrimp and.
No, but
algae
they clean up all the sort of junk that just sinks to the bottom. It's dirt and it's just all the dead grass and stuff like that. Like they're the vacuum cleaners of the lake or the pond. They just get all their rubbish and obviously goes into their stomach and they're just gross. I have eaten one once and it was disgusting. So they do a job. They do a job for the environment, but not for the dinner plate.
All right, good stuff. Any last thoughts on fishing? It's important. We got to get them all out right now.
I'm actually heading out as soon as we're done recording this. Hopefully I'll have something to post a little bit later. If
Nice.
not, forget I said anything.
Wait, you're not going fishing now. You're not going fishing now.
Oh yeah, definitely I am. The girls are out hiking, so I got a little time to walk over to a lake and throw a couple of lures in there, crank them around.
All right. That's a pitch, man. All right. Good stuff. That's all for the Up Down Report. We will be back tomorrow to talk a little bit about some news going on in the NBA and any of the scrimmage action today. Kevin Garnett wants to buy the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Clippers are shorthanded. We'll talk about, if Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell not being with the team hampers them. There's a lot of injuries going on around the league. So we'll talk about that on Friday. Thanks for joining us today. We will see you then.